I want people to think about this. Let's say I was a wealthy man and I had $30 billion invested in this bank that had $100 billion of total assets on their balance sheet. Now, let's say I had a bunch of friends, other wealthy people that had about 20 billion invested into this bank. Now, let's say one day I said, "Hey, listen, we're all golfing, we're having a good time. Maybe we have get together. Hey, listen, you know what we should do? We should pull all of our money out in the same day. Let's take all the money." Well, and it's a big bank. That bank that'll cause that bank to collapse. Probably even like a 25%. That's I've heard people say even like a 25% run on a bank would cause a bank to collapse. But that's like a 50%. Obviously, that bank's going to collapse. They probably won't be able to get all those assets out. But all those assets will come out so quick. I get my assets out. They get their assets out. $50 billion is out of that bank in a day. Okay? That bank's done. It's a major bank. Like Silicon Valley Bank. Yeah. Then, what do I do with my assets? Well, I either park in another bank, probably a bigger bank, and then, what do I do? Well, the stocks drop for all the banks. Either the next day, with all this crazy stuff, or the next couple days, they just tank. Okay? Well, what happened here was, which you could see probably what would happen. I mean, they're always gonna try to keep the system afloat until they can't no more. They have to do inflation right now. They have to socialize. At this point, there's no other way to go about but socialize the system, because they won't let it fail. So it causes other things to break. Well, anyway, there's a lack of confidence because a major bank just collapsed. Obviously, this just happened. So I invest. All these stocks are down, right? Some of these bank stocks were down like 50, 40%. Some of them were like 70. I think maybe some were even down like 90%. What do? I go buy up all those stocks for pennies on the dollar. And what does that do? All that money that comes in shows, with the help of the government, and the people like me, the taxpayers, having to prop up the system because they use us, man. They use us as pawns. That's what they do. We're just fodder to them. Oh, what about the people? The depositors that can't do their payroll. Like, that's what it comes down to. I don't consider somebody in making $100,000. I don't care if they're in California or not. On the same level as me. I think I made about 37,000 last year, but like, and then anyway, the market, because I invested and so did my friends invested into all these banks that were down. They start going back up, right? And there starts to be more confidence, especially like the government's not going to let things fail, because if the government lets the banks fail, everything's going to fail. At some point, it's going to happen. They can consolidate all they want. That's probably the best thing for them to do right now is consolidate the little banks. But in the long run, this problem ain't going away. There's just too many different. It's so complex, man. And you can listen to these finance guys, and they're saying like ECB, IMG. They have all these words. It's like I can't even understand what the hell they're talking about half the time. I'm just trying to try to let some of it sink in. And then people are like, "Oh, you're stupid." Well, you know what? Not. You can be highly intelligent in one area, but you're not gonna know everything about everything. So, it's just knowledge. Anyway, so then me, me going into these banks, buying up for pennies on the share, they go up, and then I sell them again, and then I put my money in something else. I just made a ton of money. Like, if a bank, okay, that's I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. It's a big fucking numbers. If I bought into a bank that went down 50%, right? Okay, it was worth like, I don't know, $50. Okay, and then $50 a share, and then I bought like, oh my god! But you know what I'm talking about? Like if it's too hard for me to like do off the top of my head all these different big numbers. I bought into a bank that was down 50%, and then it shot up after we bought it. Even like 25%. That's 25% gain. So it went down to $25. It was worth $50. I bought it for $25, and now it went back up. What is a quarter of 25? I don't know, like 30, 37. Now it's worth 37. Well, if I own, I don't know, a couple million shares of that bank times $37, I mean, and it just depends on how many shares I bought of that bank. That's a big gain. Now, if I had billions of dollars, a couple $1 million gain isn't that big of a deal, but you can see where things are going, and what people have to understand is the people who own the Fed, which most people think it's the government, but it's a small group of bankers, maybe like a handful, kind of like a BlackRock, and these people are secret. You don't know who's in there. You don't know who owns the company, like Vanguard, BlackRock, Blackstone, but they like to stay behind the scenes. Why do they like to stay behind the scenes? Because they own part of the Federal Reserve too. So these big banks like JP Morgan and Chase and stuff like that, the major banks, well, if they own partial of the Federal Reserve, and then they have these huge banks too, getting rid of these small banks and consolidating assets and gaining more power, like instead of a bunch of little banks, okay, now the big corporations, they have their handprint in everything. And then you can see it's like a further consolidation into one bank. And all it is power. That's all it is. And that's why I'm kind of like with the Fed sitting here trying to fight inflation. I'm just wondering why they keep on going past the debt ceiling limit. I'm just wondering why they raise interest rates so fast. It's a multiple problems. It was that initial bank too. who is corrupt because you had people selling off stocks, millions of dollars of stocks before the collapse in like 2 weeks before the bank collapsed, giving out all these bonuses to people in the company. Basically, it would be like being on the Titanic and the rich people just taking up all the valuables into the boats while like the commons, people like me, just go into the ocean and they're just taking all the valuable stuff out before they can before the ship sinks. But you can see what's happening is the consolidation of banks to have one system. This is why I say, like, communism and capitalism, if it's like capitalism will go to communism if it's unregulated, because there's no moralities in capitalism. You know, if you don't have any laws that hold people in check, there'll be monopolies. And what is a monopoly is the same thing as it's a consolidation of power. It's the same thing as communism. You have one entity that has all the power, which usually leads to a dictatorship. That's what traditionally has shown us. That's what the history has shown us. So I can see their game plan. And you know what? You know what we can do? I mean, the only thing that people can do, honestly, at this point, the only thing that us commons can do is, it's not going to happen. But it's crazy because we have so much widespread, we could talk to so many people. The only thing common people can do is have major influencers at this point. If we wanted to fight the system, pretty much collude together, all the like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, anyone with a big megaphone to be like, listen, they can try to, everything's gonna be fine for right now, but what you need to do is get yourself right, okay? We need to try to start communities. That's what they don't do. We need to start communities, and we need to prepare to evacuate the system. Because the system is going to fail. It's a dead-end system, and it's going to lead to mass starvation. And at some point, I mean, it might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, it might not happen for another 5 years. But at some point, our dollar is going to be worthless, okay? And then, unless like BRICS takes over, but I don't think Bitcoin. But it leads to a dead end, a cliff, where the rich people will be fine, but us common people are going to be left out to dry. We're going to be holding the bag. And we need to come together and be like, okay, we're done. We're done. Let's just start our own communities. You know, I'm all for technology. I am. I don't really want to go back to the 1800s. I've never been there, and I don't want to live that way. I mean, I think that I can adapt, but I think most people in the society won't be able to adapt. So if they can like collude together and be like, we can all just fight against this, because like they can all collude together and say, on this, we're done. We're done. We're done. We're protesting. We're not going back to work. If you organize millions of people and just flood our capitals, flood our streets, we're not going to work. on this day. Start preparing, save for food. And it'll cause hysteria. It will. But listen, man, look at what they do. You know? And we need to get off of this system. Because it's unsustainable. It's completely unsustainable. Because this can happen at any time. Where massive rich people can bring banks down, and you got corrupt banks who don't give a shit about people like me. They only care about themselves, and that's how most people are in this society. They only care about themselves. They don't care about their community. So we kind of need to break free from the system. I think, you know what I think we need? I think we need another currency. I think we need like 5 of the currencies. I think that like I would like to invest in bricks. You know, I want to be able to have like I don't want to have all my money in. I don't, but the government has confiscated gold in the past. Like they can confiscate stuff because they want that complete power. But if we're relying on a system and a currency that is gonna fail, the only reason why our currency is still in effect, it would have already been done, is because everybody else backs their currency with our currency. That's it. Because our currency would have been done. If you look at the amount of inflation, like a burger was probably like 5 cents, like, I don't know, 100 years ago, 70 years ago. And now it's like, what, $10 in some places? You know, it's just it's just going to keep inflating in my lifetime. If we continue to keep the system and it continues to keep going without a gigantic problem where it completely fails and you got a depression or something even completely worse, I don't even know. Like, you just got the cities become like killing fields, and cannibalism just like is rampant. Total societal destruction. The currency is unsustainable. It's just unsustainable. That's why it's not good to be all in one thing. You know, you should be all in one thing. I don't think it's good to be all in one thing right now. I just don't. I think it's good to be in multiple things because you don't know what. You go all in one thing. Oh man, that Silicon Bank stock. Silicon Valley Bank stock. That's a good stock, man. I like the tech companies. I'm going all in on that. Boom! I just lost everything. You know, so they're showing that they're going to keep socializing these institutions to keep things going forward. And they probably should, but we should get off of the fiat currency. We should get off of the New World Order money. That's their currency. That's who owns the currency. You know, people are like, "Oh, the dollar bills, man. The cash is king. You know, I don't want to have cash, and I don't want to have a digital currency," which I understand, and I think that there's some kind of that could be cool. The only thing I don't like about a digital currency, I don't care if they know what I buy. I don't care. It's not a big deal to me. I don't do nothing illegal. If they can keep track of people better, that's good. I don't have no problem with that. A currency that like disappears if I don't use it, I don't know. I don't know how that would work. It might be good because, like, if you think about like these wealthy people that leave like billions of dollars to their kids, and then their kids just don't do anything with it to help society, and they don't relate to people at all. It's a total disconnect. And I kind of think that there should be kind of, I think there should be kind of a cap to how much power a person could have. Um, if you get to a certain level, you should have to pay high taxes. I'm sorry, man. Like, and I understand it because I know where it leads. I know where it leads, and I understand. Listen, man. If your whole life is about making money, maybe you should try some other things. Maybe you should um, try some other hobbies instead of trying to have power over everybody. And I wouldn't even mind it if everyone was fed, if nobody was living in poverty. I don't even give a damn. People, you know what I mean? But it's just so weird to me that people can like, and I'm guilty of this too, and I don't even live in that. Like, in the American standard of living, I'm poor as fuck. But compared to most of the people in the world, I'm rich as hell. They would love to have my life. Um, I don't understand how these people that can have all these resources and not do nothing good with it. You know, at least with Elon, which I hold him, I'm skeptical of him, but I like him. At least he tries to at least preserve somewhat a little bit of freedom of speech when it comes to Twitter, um, and have some type of freedom of press. But these other billionaires, it's like they're not doing anything to help anybody. They're not doing anything to help the common man. Like, there's this complete disconnect with us. And the same with these politicians. Most of these politicians, and I can see it with they just become establishment. Like, okay, even somebody I really like. I like Marjorie Taylor Greene a lot. But I didn't agree with her complete backing of Kevin McCarthy as speaker. And I think that the longer that these people are politicians, the less that they actually care about us, and they just care about their own well-being. It doesn't even matter if they're right or left. This is why I said in the past, I've said this before, just because I am for MAGA, because I think it's the greatest revolution in my lifetime, the most powerful revolution in my lifetime, and that's why it's so hated. Like, it blows anything punk rock out of the water back in the day. It blows all that out of the water. It's the most popular revolution out here. At some point, if they gain power, they'll probably be corrupt too, and I will be going against them because they'll probably go too far right. You know, they'll be going too much. And I've already seen in my lifetime censorship out of the right. I've already seen that. You know, right now, people on the right are more about pro freedom of speech because they don't have power. Whoever gets power ends up wanting to control everybody. So, like, I don't understand people who can just be like, I'm going to be a Republican for the rest of my life. I want to be a Democrat for the rest of my life. Or just like I actually agreed with what's his name? Chunk Yogurt. He's on the Young Turks, man. I don't want to say his name wrong, but I liked on one of his tweets, and he said that he posted I think it's something about Biden saying that all politicians are basically liars, and I'm like, yeah, this is the first time I agree with you. Wow, you know, there's nothing wrong with seeing that somebody else's point of view on the other side and agreeing with them. But the whole problem with both sides, especially the left, man, the problem with the left is they're just too progressive too quickly, and they're doing more of it to. They want to be as extreme as they can because they want attention. That's all it's about. They want attention. So they want to do things that are taboo, things that are against the grain, that are like way far to any type of acceptance of current society. Like, they're just like progressing maybe 50 years in advance. And I'm all about progression, man. Like, um, I don't care about gay people. I think that they're whatever, man. I'm not gonna go hang out with them. Go do your thing. It doesn't affect me. Um, like I don't care about who you are with. Um, Same with the trans. Like if you're an adult, you do what you want, man. Like who am I to tell you anything? It's hard enough to get um to have any joy in this life if you're just a regular peasant like me. I mean, if that's what makes you happy, but there is consequences, and if you see, just have some knowledge before you do that. That like the statistics of doing the full transition, what happens, and but if that's what you want, that's what you want. Even if like your family, my whole thing is like, even if your family don't support you or your friends, then I guess they're not your. Then I guess you don't have to deal with them no more. You know, I mean, who cares? You do what makes you happy as long as you ain't hurting nobody else. And somebody like wanting to be with the same sex, it doesn't hurt me. I don't care. Now, I think that like there's like there's certain it's like but there's no common ground between both sides. It's just becoming directly I'm on this side, I'm on that side, and it's so much like God, can I stop saying like? I sound like a Valley girl. Be on my side. If you don't agree with everything I say, you're against me. That's where we're at. Instead of having some critical thought of the leaders and agreeing with everything they say, not thinking about critically, it's like you're in a cult, man. You're in a cult. So, um, what I like about right now is like I should just take like and then never say it again. Just take it completely out of my vocabulary. So much knowledge. I am a person of probably general IQ. Okay, maybe below average. I don't know. Um, I don't really like word searches and solving problems that much. Um, but the knowledge. This is what I'm talking about. There's so much knowledge out here. Now there is disinformation and propaganda too, but that's always been. There is more knowledge and being able to find things out like right now, right this instant. And that's what makes things beautiful right now. If I had the technology when I was younger or the knowledge when I was younger, I don't know where I would be. I would have done things a lot differently. Um, but I was extremely limited. So I really enjoy the technology. I really enjoy um, having everything ultra fast. I hate waiting. I hate lines. Um, I hate being patient. Patience sucks. So yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But I don't know if I want to post this.